Welcome back to Flathead Famous, brought to you by Engage Fitness, where we highlight the businesses, people, and stories shaping life in the Flathead Valley. Today, I'm sitting down with Mireille, owner of Mountain Physical Therapy right here in Kalispell. Mireille took ownership of MPT 6 years ago and has built it into a highly respected practice, including a specialty in women's health that most people don't even know exists. Mireille has been recognized as 2024 Small Business of the Year. She is the president of the Exchange Club and Rotary. She is on the advisory board for Leadership Flathead, Evergreen Chamber, and Evergreen Water and Sewer. She has been featured in the Daily Interlake and has been Best of the Flathead's top 10 since she took over. She's also building something called Clinical Collective, which is changing how independent medical providers in this valley connect and collaborate. This is a conversation about physical health, business, and what it actually means to build something that serves the community. Thank you for joining me today, Mireille.
It's kind of exciting to be here.
I think I shared with you years ago about how I wanted to start a podcast and highlight some of the local companies, and so now we're doing it, and I'm so honored to have you as a guest today.
Cool.
So I just read all of that, of all the accolades, and there's so much other stuff that you've accomplished. Can you tell me, how do you stay so fit with all of the crazy schedule that you maintain day to day?
Maybe that's it. I don't sit down. I don't know what it means to be bored. And I cannot there's people that can take a nap during the day. I can't. My brain always goes 100 miles an hour. And I just recently read a book about creating your personal core values. And one of my personal core values is never stop learning. So I'm always looking to learn new things, to upgrade new things, like make things more efficient, create more opportunities in the community. My brain goes 100 miles an hour, and I've tried to do meditation. That is not a thing for me, because quieting your brain is impossible.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, every time I see you, you're always running. You've always got something going on. But honestly, I don't mean that in a negative sense of the term. I mean that in a
No, I
positive.
don't take it that way.
Yeah, you're a very driven woman. And, I've been a part of, or I've known about MPT for the last 9 years because our gym is located inside of your facility there, which has been awesome. And then 6 years ago, I got the notice, hey, we got a new owner. She's going to be coming in this weekend. You're going to meet her. I can't believe that was 6 years ago. Can you believe that already?
It's crazy. Yeah, it went so fast. Definitely. Yeah. It's been a whirlwind.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's been any downtime in 6 years.
No. I didn't go to school to be a business owner, and for everybody who's watching, I'm not a PT. So I'm a business owner, and I learned about a year or 2 years ago that I'm the only non-PT PT owner clinic in this valley, which makes it a little different dynamic, because I am not the provider itself. I work on my business and not in my business, kind of. So, it's been a learning curve. It's been I always say, I fell forward a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a lot of lessons that you've even taught me through the years. And I've been able to observe about, building team and giving ownership, not just abdicating, but delegating. Has that been a key component of business for you through the years?
Yeah. And I don't think it's, I don't know if delegation is the right word. A really, really good friend of mine told me about a year ago. She says, Mireille, don't be the bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you know, as a business owner, nobody can do your business like you do,
Right.
Nobody does. But the minute you get employees and staff, nobody will care more than you do. So to create a company culture where your staff has buy-in, They believe in the message you want to pertain or communicate out to the community. They subscribe to the core values, to the agreements that we have together, or how we're going to be together, how we're going to be with our clients, our patients, and to give them, I want to say, more ownership. I think ownership might be a better word than delegating. And that has been a learning curve for me too, not to micromanage. I can distinctly remember Kelsey, my front desk here. This was like 3 years ago, because my office is right behind the front desk. So, I hear the patients come in, I hear them to check in and all that stuff. So I'll be like, why did that patient cancel? What happened to that person? And she came in, she says, Mireille, I love you, but you hired me to do a job, so let me do my job. And I'm like, point taken. Yeah, to give them ownership. And I think if you give them ownership and give them, it's almost like raising children. If you give them boundaries, but they're okay to bounce between the boundaries, they feel more engaged in their daily work, and they feel that they're part of something.
Yeah.
When I took over from the former owners, which I was so blessed to be able to do that, because they created an enormous legacy for me to take over. There were big shoes to fill. But the first staff meeting I had, I asked the team, it's like, so who's your boss? And they kind of looked at me weird. It's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, you're right here, I said, no, I'm not your boss. Your patient is your boss. They're the ones that need your full attention. They're the ones that want you to show up as your best self every day, but they're also the one that are paying your paycheck. So you are here for them every single day, not for me. And that's important to us.
Yeah. I've seen that walked out, day in and day out in the facility there. How do you create an environment where your employees understand and know that we are a client-centric company?
It's really funny because, every medical provider or company says that they're client-central. It seems to be the slogan. So, like, it's almost hollow words.
Right.
But we really live it. We are really, really patient-centered. How do I describe that? Like, we listen to the patient, and there's a balance between what is good for them, their plan of care, and what their expectations are themselves. So when people come in with, they just had surgery, or they are aging and they need some more stability, whatever they come in for, it is not the physical issue that is our goal. But what are your goals when you reach that? Like, I want to be able to play with my grandchildren again. I had a knee surgery, and skiing is my life. So I want to go back to skiing. My job is really important to me, and my back hurts so bad I can't do my job. So I need to go back to my job. Those life goals are more important than the physical ailment that they come in for. So we're trying to change people's lives that way, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, there's a lot of different approaches to physical therapy, right?
Yeah.
And some people have different specialties, one way or another. We're going to talk about one of yours here in a couple of minutes, but the ability to understand what a client is really after and then help them find that plus the next step is so much value. Do you find that a lot of clients they're just coming in for PT, but then they find something additional by going through therapy with your team?
Yeah, nobody, we're in a different position because people coming in here often not in a happy situation. They're in pain or they're rehabbing, and it's often not the most fun situation to come into. And we try to make them part of our family, like literally. We've had people crying, we have people hugging, we have people just feel at home here, and that is really important because you're already here for something, that is maybe not that fun, but
Mhm.
coming in and feeling at home, feeling heard, feeling that you're part of a family. Like, we want to know what the name of your dog is. We want to know if your child is sick. We want to know if your kiddo won the golf tournament. So that holistic part of healing and rehab, um, we really, really accomplished that. We have had people coming in saying, like, yeah, I've done PT before and it didn't work.
Right. Right.
And then, 2 months in, I'm like, I am so grateful. I am so grateful that I ended here. And, I will recommend you to everybody, which is the biggest compliment, of course, you can get.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, boy, it feels good when someone has good success and then they're willing to talk with somebody else about their success and say, hey, go over to
Absolutely.
MPT. Those guys, man, they really care about you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you guys do have a specialty there with Lydia, one of your doctors, and she does women's health pelvic floor therapy. And I think I'm saying that right.
Yep.
But like me, probably a lot of people haven't really heard of it. They don't know what it's about, like who it's for. And frankly, sometimes pelvic health is hard to just even talk about. So can you share with me a little bit about what that means and what you do as far as that specialty is concerned?
Yeah. So two things, like women's health is not all pelvic floor, and all pelvic floor is not women's health. So women's health, there's some more PTs that do women's health, but they don't particularly do pelvic floor. And pelvic floor is not always just for women. It's for men too, and people don't understand that either. It's a very specialized area, and it is not external. It is I'm not a PT, so PTs out there, don't quote me.
You're good. You're good.
So on the bottom of your pelvic, there's muscles um, that have influence on go to the bathroom, both, you know, one way or the other. And there was always a myth that you have to live with it, like incontinency, constipation. After, women have children, it's super funny because I used to teach aerobic classes in Europe, and after the first 5 minutes, half my class ran to the bathroom. All the moms ran to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and there was just a general, acceptance. It's like that's just part of, womanhood, and that is just not the case.
Hmm.
Like, we have come so far in the medical world that you can train those internal muscles to help with all those internal issues. So we have men with constipation, we have children with um, um, bedwetting, but we have women pre and post pregnancies. So it is way broader than people think.
Hmm.
Um, but it is a specialty because it's not for everybody and it's very private. So we have a beautiful room here that we make cozy and can shut off. But it is a lifesaver for people. Like, it
Yeah.
transforms people's lives. And I'm really, really grateful I found Lydia, because there's only a handful in this whole entire valley that really do the pelvic floor part.
Hmm.
And one of the reasons that I brought the continuing ed here in the valley, so there's an organization that certifies therapists for pelvic floor. Um, but as you know, we're in a valley where there's not a lot of continuing education. So a lot of education, you have to fly somewhere. So I just contacted that institute, and we had our first level one continuing ed class last December, and we're going to do level two this December,
Oh, very cool.
which is amazing because we need more of them. Like, there's so little there. The group of pelvic floor specialists is so small that they're all booked. So
Hmm.
and I don't believe in competition. I feel we're all swimming in our own lane and we all have something that is special. So I am not afraid to have 5, 10 more pelvic floor specialists. I think the community needs it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know much about pelvic floor challenges and issues until our friend group started like having life changes, right? They started having babies and then
Right.
jobs changed where people weren't moving as much and they're sitting a lot more for work. And then the discussion started about like, oh, well, what does this look like? And so when you told me that you were bringing on Lydia as a pelvic floor specialist, I was super excited because I think there are a lot of people who have those challenges and just think that that's normal life. But it's
Right.
cool to hear you say that it doesn't have to be. So she's able to go through some sort of diagnosis to be able to help them do exercises and that kind of thing. Is that right?
Yeah, but she also, I don't know if this is like podcast material, but she works really closely with OB doctors and she does internal manipulation also.
Okay.
But besides exercises, she can go internally and works with the muscles inside your body to get them activated and fired up. So that is like a different approach to PT. There's not a lot of people that understand that that is an option also.
Mhm.
And like you said before, education is a huge part, not just for pelvic floor, but for PT in general, because our goal is for people not to come back. Our goal is for people to know their body and have the tools, the exercises, and the lifestyle education while they're here that they can continue that when they're done with their treatment.
Yeah.
So education in general, and it is triple for pelvic floor because, like you said, it's such unknown territory still. Um, that education in that field is even more important than in general, like physical therapy.
Do you feel like that's because do you feel like that's a challenge because of what they're actually working on? Like, you know, it's pelvic floor, so people don't really talk about it. Or do you feel like this is more of an emerging and new science that we're learning more and more about every day?
Both, both. So it's something new that I don't think has been in PT for a crazy long time. And it's not for everybody. Not every PT wants to go that route. You know, if you want to
Mhm.
be a surgeon, often, you're having a specialist because that's where your heart lays. And there's some PTs and it's like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. you know,
Right.
and and the pelvic floor PTs that we have in the Valley are so passionate about it,
Mhm.
so passionate. And but it's definitely a new emerging growing part of our industry that and is it's so new that a lot of people don't know about it yet. But it's the more we talk about it and the more it gets out there and people see the results of that treatment. And like you said earlier, you don't have to live with it.
Yeah.
uh, it is growing and growing, and all the pelvic floor specialists in the Valley, they connect with each other too. It's not like, oh my God, I'm keeping my patients. No, we're all of them support each other because they all see the need and how it can change people's lives for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's kind of a large range of people that you guys work with, whether it's someone coming in, like you said initially, that's had surgery or been in an accident, they're in a lot of pain. Maybe it's someone who doesn't recognize it but needs some pelvic floor therapy. Do you have an example, without naming any names, of someone who maybe came in with a challenging situation and you guys were able to help them and on their journey, on their health journey moving forward?
I have so many.
Well, just one will do. I think there's a stigma when I talk to a lot of people about, hey, why don't you go to PT? Well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they don't know that the value of physical therapy. 14 years being a coach, I've seen how physical therapy has helped people when they have a flare up. I mean, Greg just did e-stim and dry needling on my foot the other day because I was having some challenges. But when you mention to some people that they should get therapy, there's a little bit of a question mark, like, does it actually help? And I don't know if I actually need it.
One patient came in and he's like, "Yeah, I've been to therapy before, and my doctor says that I have to go here, but it never helped." You know, and it was a low back pain, which is we see a lot of those low back pains, and it's like, yeah, it never helped. And treatment started, and he felt better within 2 weeks, and then 4 weeks. And then after 6 weeks, he was almost crying. He says, "I never knew this was such a life changer."
Mm,
Um, and that makes me as an owner so happy because I always get I always get the good stories, you know.
yeah.
Um, I have seen so many patients coming in with such a negative, like you said, negative idea about physical therapy. And I can understand it, like nothing about my home country in the Netherlands, but my brother just had a partial knee replacement and his therapist does nothing for him. Which makes me so mad. I was like, "Can you jump on a plane and come here? Let my
Yeah.
team take care of you." Um, but yeah, so especially I think the biggest transformation are those people that are being sent here by their doctor,
Hmm.
but not really believing in the treatment that we give, you know? And um and we have people that come in for one issue and then we treat that, but there's an underlying issue that um, caused that. It's almost like a domino effect. Say somebody comes in for lower back pain, so we treat that, but along the way, we figured out it's their hip or their knee, which has an effect on their back, but their back hurts more. So we fix their back and then they come back for their knee because that was the original problem to begin with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so we go down the line and then eventually they are lined up and they have the best life ever. Um, and that's what we've seen more, like repeat patients
Mm.
for different issues because we see that, they come in for one, then the next down the line might be, like I said, your knee and then your ankle, or so if all those things line up at the end, like we've done our due diligence,
Yeah.
and then it's the education to send them home to keep that lifestyle and keep that those exercises going and stay being healthy moving forward.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the continued homework that you guys send out is of vital importance, right? And I
Yeah.
think maybe you would agree the ones that are most consistent with their at home physical therapy really have the best success long
Agreed.
term. Have you found that out as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes my therapists get frustrated because not everybody is as due diligent as they want to be, you know.
Yeah.
And then they come back and like, "No, I'm not feeling good. But have you done your
Yeah.
exercises?" No.
No. No, I expected you to fix me after
Yeah.
one time of seeing you,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah. There's a lot of funny memes. I'm like, "Hey, PT, can you fix me when I get out of here? I want to be fixed," you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's been fun to watch you guys work with your patients. Also, we've referred clients over to you as well. Sometimes I
Absolutely.
have people ask me like, "Hey, why should I go to that PT or that PT?" If you were to hear a conversation and you had to tell them, "Hey, why don't you come to Mountain Physical Therapy?" What is it that sets you apart from what a lot of other clinics in the valley are doing?
We really create a home. Our promise to the community is to be the trusted partner in lifelong health. And there's a couple components to that. We worked really hard the last 6 years to be trustworthy. Lifelong health is the second part of that promise, is that we want to set people up for success
Hmm.
uh, moving forward. And the combination of those two, I think, makes us really special. We don't have any special relationship with any physician that sends anybody our way, so it's very unique. Um, and I also have been on a mission for years now to educate the community that they have a choice to where they're going. So even if your physician says, "Oh, I'm going to refer you to there," but you feel that you wouldn't want to go somewhere else, it's your choice.
Hmm.
And that is a big animal to accomplish, because educating educating the community that they have a choice to come to us. Um, but we have so many 5-star reviews, and I don't pay anybody to rank higher in our SEO, but our organic reviews, which is a testament to us that we are keeping our promise to the community. Um, and that we've been in the top 10 in the last 6 years, fighting against companies that had 6, 7, 18, you know, different clinics under their umbrella, and we're just
Mhm.
one of. I think, of course, you're never there, but I think we created that home, trust, and partnership for lifelong health the last couple of years, for sure.
Yeah, I love what you said about lifelong health and then setting people up for success because I mean that's why anyone in the health industry I believe has gone into that kind of work is because we really truly do want to help people. You know,
Right.
we could be doing other businesses. We could be applying our skills elsewhere, but we really want to help people, want to give people hope, and I think that's awesome that you guys are providing that.
Right.
So good job. So
Well,
let's move on to your new exciting project. I understand it's called the Clinical Collective, and
correct.
you're doing some work to connect some independent practitioners in the Valley. Can you share with us what that's like?
Yeah, so we've noticed, like, I have a business partner, Cedar. She owns Flexible Medical Imaging. She does a remote, or she does a mobile imaging. So she comes to you for imaging. She's an amazing, smart lady. We noticed that in the health and wellness industry, we feel a little bit on an island. Every private practitioner feels a little bit on an island. And right now, there's so many different solutions coming out of the woodworks. What health and wellness is concerned, a lot of doctors starting their own practices while they've been part of a bigger organization for years, because they feel that they need to be more focused on what they've been doing, and there's different models, like the direct primary care model in primary care, and it's getting so splintered that nobody knew where everybody is anymore,
Mm,
especially the public, and as much as healthcare is a broken system, there's more and more providers stepping up that they feel that healthcare needs to go where it's actually patient centered again. That patients are not a number, but patients are a a human being in a process and holistic. And so our vision is connect, learn, and support. So connect all these private practitioners together so you know who exists where. And that can be mental health, it can be OT. We even have an equine therapy in our circle, so that you can share the knowledge in health and wellness. So if there's a patient that comes into us and we're like, okay, we went through the PT, but there's some things that, prime example, pelvic floor. Pelvic floor can be a very emotional um, rehab,
mm,
where there's can be some mental health and that's a big word, but there can be some old trauma that is connected with pelvic floor health. So we have mental health providers in our groups that deal with that trauma, and they refer to us, we refer to them, so that that patient gets a holistic approach to their best life ever. And so we want to make sure that we connect. There's one network and one platform that connects them all, and then learn. This is where I come in, because I'm like the oddball in this whole group. I call it a community. Is all these practitioners work often in their business because their primary focus is my patient and getting them to where they need to be. But then they start their own business and they're like, well, shoot, I've been a provider for I don't know how long, but I've never ran a business. So, marketing, does that look like? Medical billing. Oh my goodness. HR. Now I gotta hire people. Now what? Payroll. A CPA. Like the medical industry is just so different, especially when you deal with insurance companies. So all those issues brings us together, and I want to make sure that there's resources for these smaller businesses and for these smaller providers where they can tap into and get their questions answers before it becomes a problem. Like I said, I fell forward a lot the last 6 years because, first of all, the medical industry is a different animal. And then second of all, I didn't go to school to run a business, to be a business owner. So that learn part is like, we want to create that resource for them. And then the last part is support. Like we want these providers to support each other, both from the medical standpoint is like, okay, I have this pediatric patient and I've tried this and this and this and this and this, and I can't figure anything that works. Is there anybody in this group that has dealt with this before? So from a clinical point, I want to connect them all to support each other, but also like, okay, guys, I have learned this in the last year. And this was, I ran into this issue and this is the solution that I found. So we want to kind of like Reddit does, like we want to get a platform up and running where you can post a question, say like, okay, I run into this issue. Anybody in the group that's ran into this? So they start supporting each other. So those three components are very, very important to me. So, we've created a group here in Kalispell, which is our pilot. Then we created a group in Columbia Falls that is slowly to start. We're launching Whitefish in July, but we actually want to grow this statewide because we're going to start our first half-day conference in fall, where those three components come together. So we want to do some networking and connection. Then we're going to bring in a few speakers that are business related that they can use as a resource. And then we want to maybe break out in some discussion groups. I'm like, okay, this group is interesting to me because I'm dealing with this issue, etc. And then we want to do another one in spring. And then eventually, if we get like organically grow this community, we want to have one time a year have like a state conference where it's a whole day where there's discussions about healthcare, discussions, what does patient-centered mean? How am I going to run my business? Time management is huge for these small businesses because they're like, they are it, or they just have the receptionist, and then how do you manage, treating your client patients, still working on your business, because if you don't market, you don't get patients. How do you time manage? What is your return on investment on your hour? What does that look like? Like a lot of those small practices struggle with, I want to grow, but the next step to what does that look like? And a payroll is scary. Creating company culture. How do I do that? I have a vision, but how do I get my whole entire crew or the new people that I'm hiring on board with my vision. So there's a lot of challenges, especially for those smaller businesses that are starting, because they're so good at what they do. And then, but how do I do the rest so I don't go out of business next year?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like the community that we're creating, and I'm really, really, really passionate about it.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, that frustration of how to help more people and all that it entails when you grow is really challenging to do it on your own, right?
Right.
And be able to have somebody who's built it, who's been there, done that, has some lessons to learn, like, hey, if you're going to fall forward. And that means set these things up so that you can have better success. I think that's an incredible opportunity for independents that are in the Valley looking to help more people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited about it. And I've already seen a couple in the short time that we've been, rolling this out. We've already seen connection going, and things happening, and people collaborating, and it's so fun to see. It's so fun to see. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you going to expand that to include like wellness, med spas, personal trainers, those kind of things that maybe aren't typically considered medical, but are still in the field of helping people? Or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, it's medical health and wellness. So anything that has to do with mentally and physically, like they always say, like a healthy brain and a healthy body, and the other way around. All those aspects that come with that, and living a healthy life, both mentally and physically. We want to connect each other because, like you said, like you're in the personal training world, I'm in the PT world. There is so much overlap because if somebody's, in so much pain that they cannot live a healthy life and cannot work out, or people that for us, they finally, after so many years, are not hurting anymore, but like want to keep being healthy, and like they need a personal trainer to move them to the next level of, the best life they can live. So there's so much overlap in all of those. And, the mental health people that we have too, it's like to be innerly at peace. So you have the capacity to live a healthy life and setting goals. Like it all comes together. But yes, long answer to a short question. Yes. Yes. We want to incorporate anything that has to do with health and wellness, and we call it practitioners. So whatever practitioner you feel you are. Yeah.
Okay. And if
Yeah.
someone wanted to get involved with that, is there somewhere they can go to reach out to you or a website?
Our website is live, but we are sitting down with a web designer because it's just a demo.
Okay.
But reaching out to me to start would be a good one. And yeah, we have set days a month where the groups meet. So the second Wednesday of the month is always Columbia Falls. The third Wednesday is Whitefish, and the last Wednesday is Kalispell. But I mean, for now, hopefully we'll get our website up and running, but there's so many components to it that we want to incorporate that it might take us a little bit to get the content up there that we wanted. But for now, yeah, just get a hold of me and I will get you plugged in wherever you feel it works for you the best.
There you go. Just call Mireille on her cell phone. We'll actually put your contact info at the end of the podcast so people can
Everybody
reach
has
out.
my cell phone anyway.
Okay, maybe not cell phone, maybe the business number.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was the whole spirit of beginning this podcast, was like, maybe we can connect other businesses together that are like-minded. Maybe we can talk about some of the local legends who are really changing the culture in the Valley, that are helping people, that are expressing their gifts and their talents in a way that aren't self-serving, but really are there for other people. And I love hearing about other ideas where people are putting into action their idea of how do I help more? Because again, like we said earlier, that's right where it's at, is how do we help more?
Yeah, part of our mission, and not vision, but the mission of this clinical collective is give first. Because I believe that is a concept in doing business, but concept in life too. If you give, you get it back tenfold, not even expecting it. I feel that's spiritually how the universe works. And I feel every business should work like that. Every community should work like that. Give first before you're open to receive.
Yeah. The ability to give is more than just the physical act of doing it. It takes a mindset to be aware of other people around you. And I think that's one amazing thing about how you're posturing not only yourself, but your company and the clinical collective is that it's a mindset of helping others, of giving to others. And it's just amazing. I actually didn't know much about it other than our quick conversation. So it's cool to actually hear more from you about the clinical collective.
Yeah, and it's been a process, and we're still in that process of how do you, in a couple of sentences, embody what I have in my mind and in my heart,
Mhm.
you know? So we're still trying to make it more understandable and what we really want to accomplish. And again, like what is in your heart and in your mind to put that in words. It's getting better and better, and we're formulating it more easier and more precise. Um, so yeah, we're working on it. It's a work in progress, but it's trial and error like everything else. It's like we got to see what works for all these practitioners, because what works for me might not work for them, you know. And we want people to participate. We want our private providers, practitioners, health care workers. We want them to participate, bring ideas. What do you need? What do you see lacking? Where can we fill the gap for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if someone's listening right now and they've been living with either a challenge in small business, right, or physically pain or dysfunction or limitation, or accepted that where they are is just part of life, what would you tell that individual?
You know, that is so passe. Like I grew up in an era, like I mean in my late 50s, it's like you got to live with it. Or, you know, and you don't have to live with whatever you're dealing with, like growing your business, having daily pain that you live with, or try something. Try something, because I can promise you there is a solution.
Mhm.
One of my core values is there's a solution for everything. If it's daily pain, chronic pain, um, like you said, on the other spectrum, like challenges in your business, challenges in what you want to do with your life, there is a solution for everything. So try something. If it fails, try something else. Because there's a solution, and it might be in a corner that you never thought of.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there you have it. That's a great way to wrap up, is that you don't have to stay there. You can make a change. You know,
Right.
if Mariah has shared anything that resonates with you, whether you've been putting off PT or you didn't even know a specialty like women's health or pelvic floor therapy exists, you can reach out to Mariah and their crew at Mountain Physical Therapy or at www.mtnpt.com. If you're ready to make that next step in your own fitness journey, you can go to engagefitnessmontana.com and click book consultation. All of us would love to help you out in your journey. Mariah, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining me today. And for everyone listening, thank you for listening to Flathead Famous. We'll be back with more stories from the people and businesses shaping the Flathead Valley. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Mariah.
Thanks for having me.
For the ones who want more life in their minutes, not just minutes in a day. Can I get a witness?